Welcome back and thank you for joining us. Let's take a look at the front pages of our national dailies and see what made it there this morning. Let's start off with Daily Trust. Tax laws face legitimacy crisis, and that's on pages 3 and 4 of the Daily Trust newspaper. Kidnappers collected 2.57 billion naira ransom in 1 year, according to reports, and that's on page 6 of the Daily Trust newspaper. Nigeria edged Tanzania in hard-fought AFCON 2025 opener, and that's on page 30 of the Daily Trust newspaper. Officers missing as terrorist attack civil defense post in Niger. That's on page 10 of the Daily Trust newspaper. PDP crisis, INEC rejects Turaki-led National Working Committee, and that's on page 11 of the Daily Trust newspaper. And National Assembly passes 48.32 trillion naira revised 2025 budget, and that's on page 23 of the Daily Trust newspaper. 12 killed in Plateau, Kogi auto crashes. That's on page 10 of the Daily Trust newspaper. And lastly, terrorists using POS machines for ransom collections, and that's on page 6 of the Daily Trust newspaper. If you want more on those headlines, do all to grab yourself a copy and stay informed.
All right, next up, we have the Punch newspaper right in front. Budget crisis. National Assembly extends 2025 fiscal year to March. Senate reps pass revised 91.8 trillion naira 2024-2025 budget. 2026 appropriation bill passes second reading. That's on page 2 of the Punch newspaper. At the top left, we have 2027 Turaki camp fumes as INEC rejects PDP exco. That's on page 2 as well. NBA, Atiku demands new tax law suspension. That's on page 30 of the Punch newspaper. Yuletide rush, federal government orders contractors to keep highways open. That's on page 9 of the Punch. We have Wike promise to hold PDP for Tinubu. Makinde alleges. That's on page 30 of the Punch newspaper. Federal government orders takedown of terrorist social media accounts. That's on page 7 of the Punch newspaper. Measles death toll hits 153 in 11 months. That was on page 7 as well if you want more. Ekiti domesticates Nigeria Tax Administration Act. That's on page 9 of the Punch newspaper. At the bottom, Akpabio mourns police escort killed by tanker. That's on page 30. Noun, student collapses during test, dies. That's on pages 4 and 5 for more. Court seizes land linked to Goodluck Jonathan Estate. That's on page 7 of the Punch newspaper. That's all we have on the front page. Make sure you grab yourself a copy and stay informed.
Next off, let's take a look at the Nigerian Tribune. Destruction of PDP dangerous for Nigerians' democracy, says Makinde. And it says Wike at a meeting promised Tinubu he would hold PDP for him. I regret backing him in 2023. Adilabo does not have capacity to organize or your APC for president. And all of the stories on page 3 of the Nigerian Tribune newspaper. And INEC rejects Turaki's factions request for recognition, citing pending lawsuits, and that's on page 8. Tax Reforms Act, NBA calls for suspension probe, and that's on page 21 of the Nigerian Tribune newspaper, I beg your pardon. Two Rivers PDP senators, 6 reps defect to the APC. That's on page 4. We also have Nigeria falls short of oil revenue target in H1 2025 budget office reports, and that's on page 6. Awujale's tool, Kwam 1 withdraws suit to stop process. That's on page 21. 2026 budget, senators insist on implementation as 58.47 trillion naira appropriation bill skills second reading, and that's on page 2. Ekiti takes the lead, domesticates Nigerian Tax Administration Act. Oyebanji signs Ekiti State Revenue Administration Law with 415.57 trillion naira 2026 budget. That's on page 8 if you want more on that story. And NIN becomes automatic tax ID for Nigerians. A CAC number emerges official identifier for businesses, and that's on page 5 of the Nigerian Tribune. If you want more on the headlines, so what to grab yourself a copy and stay informed. Okay, then let's move straight ahead to our reviewer. We have the former director of news, Voice of Nigeria, Ben Shamak, via Zoom to help us review the front pages of our national dailies. Good morning, Ben Shamak. Thank you for joining us this morning. Hello, Ben Shamak. Can you hear us?
Yes, I can hear you.
Good morning. Thank you for joining us this morning. Compliments of the season.
Thank you very much. Thank you.
All right, let's move straight ahead to Daily Trust. Tax laws face legitimacy crisis. We have seen and heard lots of reports concerning the controversies surrounding the tax law. What is your take on this?
Controversies. Yes, and they still have to go on. Here you are, a lawmaker who partook in making this law, and the president has signed it into law. I mean, for him to realize that there is a variant, there is one has been gazetted, there's one that they have as lawmakers. So we also expect that we should be seeing them side by side. They said this is the one the lawmakers passed, and this is the one that has been gazetted. Let us look at the areas of differences. In section this or subsection that, the lawmakers said this, but this is what has been captured in the gazette. That will make a difference. And we are talking about all of this when the National Assembly has simply decided to go on break before they come back till so much towards the end of January 2026. Now, within that period, January 1st, this tax law will be implemented. So, in other words, no matter what the Nigerians are saying, it's they have already passed whatever it is. Even if there are inadequacies or there are some lies somewhere, it doesn't bother them. By now, we ought to have seen that the lawmakers should be fuming seriously, saying their work has been tinkered with and it's against the law. So, and that's why some human rights activists, opposition politicians are saying suspend the implementation. Let's look at what is happening, and this is where the government ought to explain so much to Nigerians so that everybody is taken along.
All right, let's look at this headline. The figure is quite alarming. Kidnappers collected 2.57 billion naira ransom in 1 year. What are your thoughts on this, and how do you think this really impacts people and impacts others when it comes to the, what I call it, glitz and glam of kidnapping? These figures are huge. That is a lot of money for kidnappers to have gotten in just 1 year.
Honestly, it is alarming that this humongous amount will go just to pay for ransom. These are illegally collected money, and we are told they are even using a POS to collect this ransom. And are these POS owners not known? Are there no numbers attached to them? Are these monies also not being ferried via some established banks? So a whole lot of things that are just being left to uncatered for. And I'm so sure this figure does not also carry some cases in villages that are not reported. There are instances where in some villages, some people pay 3 million, 5 million, 10, and they don't get reported in newspapers, or the media is just not there. So all of this is left behind. Then you look at the consequences of this kidnapping. Where some people insist that poverty is causing kidnapping, some areas are saying that kidnapping has further impoverished them. In terms of multidimensional poverty, people are closing shops, people are not farming, and when they farm, they go to farm, they are kidnapped. The little harvest they've done, you sell them, gather this money and give to these people. And that's why Nigerians cannot wait for this state police. Nigerians cannot wait for these agro rangers, where the president says, go into the forest and make Nigerians feel free. So this amount is so huge that it can take so many projects. And I think that the telecom industries should help the security agencies in terms of tracking. They should be able to track whoever is receiving what amount anywhere and all that stuff. That will assist. And when these huge monies are being taken, when people are, going to pay ransom, are there monitors? Because when you withdraw huge money, the financial intelligence unit is always supposed to track that, and they alert the EFCC. Then DSS will come on board. A joint kind of operation will ensure that this is busted in either sting operations and all that stuff.
Okay, let's take a look at this headline. The Nigeria Security and Civil Defense Corps, which is the NSCDC, reports that officers are missing as terrorists attack the civil defense post in Niger, and it's an unspecified number of officers, and they are yet to be accounted for. And after these terrorists attacked an outpost by the that is in Ibrahim Lete village along Wawa-Luma Road in Borugu local government area of Niger State. Now, according to reports, the attackers came in their large numbers as usual, and then they opened fire on the security officers at around 4 a.m. yesterday morning. It's such a sad news to see that, we're still getting this report when it comes to attacks by bandits and terrorists every day in Nigeria. Would love to hear your view on that.
Yes, and this is happening where you have the Mahmudawas, from Mahmudawa, you have the Lakurawas. These are the new fellows on ground. It's expected that when you have a post of that nature, you also have to be very, very vigilant. Will you want to take a nap when indeed you are in a security, a risky environment? So it's a bad and a certain that it has happened. May their souls rest in peace if they are dead. But those who are gone missing, we also pray that they are just retreating to regroup. But it's a worrying thing that this act of inhumanity to fellow man is always happening. This bloodbath that we are seeing that ought to have, it shouldn't be the thing that Nigerians are known for. But here we are. It is the thing that is happening today. So we expect that the moment there is an attack on one, there should be an attack on all. So in terms of synergy, the army, the navy, the air force, the police, it should always come around, surround the areas within the shortest time possible, and before you know it, these people will be routed, and the captives are set free, and those who perpetrated the act must be brought to justice so that society can sleep very well. So it's condemnable, it's condemned, and of course in its entirety.
All right, now things continue to heat up in the political scene. So far, we've seen that PDP are still in crisis, and now INEC has rejected the Turaki-led National Working Committee. What are your thoughts on that?
Yeah, you see, the background is that PDP is in factions. Some factions went to court, and when PDP was trying to go for its convention in Ibadan, some people went to court and simply said and sought the court some relief that the convention should not take place, and that was granted. Now, the other faction did not go to a higher court that this injunction be vacated. So they went on to do the convention, and in doing the convention, the law requires that INEC should observe that convention. INEC was not in Ibadan. Conspicuously, they were not there. And so once you don't see INEC there, it is a nullity. And INEC is saying that they are simply obeying the law. The court says INEC should not go and observe the convention, and therefore it did not go. INEC either did not also go to any higher court to demand for why they shouldn't be allowed to do their duties or legal duties. Neither did the opposition faction, the Turaki faction, go to ensure that the court lifted this sanction. So they just went on believing that they say, oh, this is National Working Committee. It has the overriding power. It has the supremacy kind of a position when it comes to party administration. So they can do and undo, and that was why they also expelled some people. Now having the other portion led by Wike, they are also not having any representation anywhere. So the fear is some people are alleging now, just like you can see Governor Shea Makinde is saying that Wike is alleged to have told the president, look, he will do everything to surrender PDP to him, and he will going to ensure his cultural whatever process. And that is exactly what is happening. And when they say the party is in faction, they have crisis, then people can always bolt out, you can leave. And that's why you can see the mass exodus. See what has happened in Rivers now, state right now. So a whole lot of problems that are ahead. And if this crisis continues, don't be surprised. PDP might not be having candidates in some states as governors, as lawmakers, and of course, there will be no presidential candidate. So the game plan is on. Is it plus or addition for APC, or is it minus for democracy? These are things Nigerians are waiting to see.
Right, Mr. Benchaman, quickly, I think we just have 2 minutes left. Quickly, would love to hear your view concerning what the federal government says about, terrorists using POS machines for ransom collections. I mean, the federal government stated this on Tuesday, and they said that terrorists are devising different means when it comes to the collecting of, the payment of ransom. And it also disclosed that the Nigerian security agencies are working with, major social media companies to identify and take down accounts used by terrorists and criminal groups to promote this act. So the big question is, why now? Is it just now that they are, realizing that bandits do use POS when it comes to transacting and collecting, ransom payments from their victims? What is your view on this?
You see, honestly, if I were to be the government, I would not go into explaining things to Nigeria. We'll just go behind the scene and get these people arrested. We've been hearing at the point the terrorists were using Turaya. We've been hearing they are using foreign numbers. Are we saying that with all our connection with Interpol? Are we saying that with all our connection with many other security agencies that we cannot track what they call transnational crimes? Not to talk of things that are internally. You look at the local people, they are now using POS here. POS belong to virtually all the banks that we have. There's no POS that is getting his money from water or from the desert. It's coming from the cities. It's coming from banks that have a management structure. So we also expect that like they said, they're going to check the social media, check GSM service providers. They have to work in synergy to ensure that Nigeria is safe. People's monies are safe. Companies are safe. Nigeria is safe. Look, we are having a very terrible image. That has to stop. I think that the government should not just be explaining things away.
All right. Thank you very much, Mr. Benchaman, for always reviewing the front pages of our national dailies.
You're welcome. Thank you.
Thank you. And have a Merry Christmas.
Thank you, and same to you.
All right. That is all we have on Daybreak this morning. We've come to the end of the show. Thank you to all that are watching us. Thank you to all that called in and our guests as well. Your contributions are highly valued. And I'm Hawa Adamikia. Make sure you tune in tomorrow morning at 8 a.m. so you don't miss out on engaging and interesting conversations. And so far from Daybreak right here, I wish you a Merry Christmas in advance.
Thank you so much for watching and also tuning in this morning. You can follow us on all of our social media platforms, and you can also subscribe to our YouTube channel for more news and program. I wish everyone a Merry Christmas. Do enjoy your holidays, and while you're at it, make sure you stay safe. Have a great day. I am Mimuna Bagojo. Bye-bye.